Hey guys, Mr. Gucci here to run through today's notes. And this was the day where we just introduced the concepts of chemistry and what it means. And so, chemistry is going to get kind of complicated as this course goes on. You're in high school now, so you're starting to experience math and science courses where you might get a question that's 2 or 3 sentences long, and the answer might take you like a page and a half of work to get there. I don't think it's going to be that bad in our class this year, but just know things are going to get kind of complicated. And when they do, I want you to bring your mind back to what chemistry is essentially. And it's this: everything in the world is made up of countless tiny little specks, okay? There's only a few types of specks that exist, but these specks will stick together and form little clusters of specks. And these clusters can behave like whole new things. So keep that in mind. Chemistry is about little specks that stick together and form clusters. There's different kinds of specks, and so they'll stick together differently, following different rules. Okay. Now, of course, these specks that I'm talking about are atoms. Okay. And atoms kind of function like connects in that there's basically just a few types of atoms, but there's an almost infinite number of ways to arrange them into different things. And I think a lot of you, I mean, I taught STEM eighth graders, so I think you remember some of the things we did with Connects. We built bridges, built little sphero chariots. Okay. And so atoms work in the same way. It's the same way that Legos work, where there's just a few types of pieces that can be arranged in different ways. Or construction material, okay? The wood, the pipes, the nails, all those things are basic ingredients, but you could use them to build any number of different structures. That's how atoms work. And so the thing I described to you is called atomic theory, okay? Almost everything in the world is made up of countless tiny atoms. There's only a few types of atoms that exist, and we call them elements. Okay, so for example, gold is an element, carbon is an element, oxygen, nitrogen. All right, these are all elements. Some things that you're familiar with are not elements. Water, for example, is not an element. Water is a cluster of atoms. It's called a compound. Water is made of two hydrogen atoms and an oxygen atom that have bonded together. That's why the other name of water is H2O. Okay. And so the reason why there's so many different things that exist in the world, despite there being only a few number of types of atoms, is because every cluster will behave totally differently. Okay. So, for example, oxygen is a transparent, invisible gas. Iron is a hard, bendable silver substance. Put them together and you get a reddish brown substance called rust. Rust is just made of oxygen atoms and iron atoms that have combined together. Here's what's actually happening at the microscopic level: oxygen atoms are little bluish colored spheres. Iron atoms are silvery colored spheres. And when you stick them together, you get rust, something that seems totally different from the oxygen and the iron that makes it up. Okay, and as this course goes on, I'm going to run some demos, and every time I do a demo of a chemical reaction, I'm going to represent how atoms of one sort are connecting with atoms of another sort to make something new. All right. And that's what chemistry is about: understanding how and why these atoms bond together. Because if we can figure out how and why atoms bond, then we can maybe get them to bond in certain ways to make new and interesting substances like this aerogel, a super light and delicate insulating gel. Or, just as important, we can figure out how to avoid certain other chemical reactions. If we can figure out the reasons why iron and oxygen come together to form rust, then we can figure out a way to prevent them from coming together. So your cars, your tools will no longer rust, okay? This is the journey we will be taking this year, guys. I look forward to doing it. On Friday, I plan on blowing up some stuff and running some chemistry demos for you all. Have a great day.